Thank you everybody for coming tonight, and all the presenters that have done that tonight. That's a really tough act to follow, and of course I've gotten all this feedback now, but it's too late to take my presentation now, but that's okay. We're going to go with it. So my name is Michele, and I'm here with Person Edmonton partners. That's right. So, blindly, that's one of the things that we've been talking about tonight. I've always done things with purpose. So I started my life. I went to university to become an accountant, because I knew I needed to understand the language of business as I wanted to be a business owner one day. Now, as we know, life kind of takes you on different paths and twists and turns and doesn't always follow your initial plan. So I spent 37 years helping my parents run a very successful family business. Now, during this time, I married my larger-than-life husband, Doug, and together we raised 3 strong, independent women. Now, my life was very, very intense, very busy. My husband traveled a lot for work, and my daughters were active and involved in everything. So many days I felt like I lived in my car. So life was just busy, 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 busy. Then one day, my youngest daughter left for university, like her older sisters had left. And I found myself at home, and it was very quiet. And in that silence, that desire to become a business owner resurfaced. So I invested in myself. I invested fully in my education with Trust Through Talent, and I surrounded myself with a community of wonderful investors, mentors, and power team members. I live on, obviously, the West Coast for you, those of you in Vancouver, and I've expanded my business to invest all the way to the Atlantic coast, which we're going to see today. And I'd love to have you join me on this really fun journey. So the opportunity I have is also in St. John, just like Nadine's. So growing up, I always loved to play with dolls. And I always wanted a dollhouse. Never got my dollhouse when I was little, so I went out and found my very own large dollhouse at Cash Flows. So with this property, it is an amazing property, and we're going to use the BRRRR with it. So we're going to obviously buy it, and we're going to renovate it. And even though it's got gorgeous Victorian trims and stuff, the best part of this property is the cash flow it has and the multiple money-making exit strategies it has. So after we renovate it, then we're going to refinance it. And then we're going to repeat the process. So that's the BRRRR. Now, I don't need to do anything too extensive to this property. It's in pretty good shape already. So we have to do some minor cosmetic updates, painting, lighting, changing a few kitchens, updating a few bathrooms. There's a bit of minor work on the outside that needs to be done, but overall it's in really good shape. The excellent opportunity we have with this one is one of the main floor suites is massive. So we have the opportunity to split it into either another unit or even another unit on top of that. And that's something that we can discuss further when we get into our partnership. Now, as a conservative investor and as an accountant, I know that it is very important to have cash flow, but it's also very important to have exit strategies. So the plan for this is a long-term buy and hold, same as everybody else for a 5-year period, and then we can evaluate after that if we want to continue holding it. And at that point, we can either continue holding it, sell it to another investor as a rental, we can sell it to a developer, because this property is zoned for medium density, and it's a huge 11,000 square foot corner lot. So it has lots of potential there. Or we can also operate it or sell it as an Airbnb or as a student rental, because it's only 11 minutes from the university. Now this property is located in St. John West, which is listed in the top 10 desirable neighborhoods in St. John to live. It's a very solid working class neighborhood where over 62% of the population is in the labor force. And over 56% of the homes are rented in this neighborhood. So it's a really strong rental neighborhood. This is a map right in the city of St. John. You can see a little property there, it's actually big. But it is zoned mid-rise residential. So that will accommodate condominiums, apartments, townhouses. And remember, it's an 11,000 square foot lot, so that can accommodate a lot of units. So this is another bonus to this property. Now, in performance analysis, I've got lots of spreadsheets and things like that, but I want to keep it simple for tonight. So this property, it cash flows as is, about $57 an hour. And then we're going to improve the performance of it by renovating it and raising the rents, because it's very under market rented right now. And then it's going to cash flow, and this is all very conservative numbers, for $1,500 a month. Then after we refinance and pull out a good significant portion of your initial investment, it still has a really healthy cash flow of over $1,100 a month. And those numbers are all without the extra unit added in there. Now, the investment opportunity that I'm asking for is a traditional 50-50 joint venture partnership. So you, as the investor partner, would put in the down payment, closing costs, and the renovation costs. And it's going to depend on your borrowing costs as to exactly what the numbers are. We have some basic numbers up there. Then after, we also need mortgage qualification capabilities of about just over $300,000. Now I know for those of us living in Vancouver, you're like, $300,000, that's it? Yes, that's it. St. John is a much different market than Vancouver. So after the renovations, we have partners a split of the profits of $750 a month. So $750 a month makes a really nice car payment, makes a great addition to a university fund, because trust me, I know I put 3 through, it's very expensive, or to a renovation or to a retirement fund, or maybe even a vacation fund. And you have to remember that that money comes to you every month, basically while you sleep, because I'm doing all the work. Now, after we renovate, after we refinance and pull back a good significant portion of your initial investment, they still cash flows over $540 a month. And again, these numbers are without the extra units added in there, and they're very conservative. So my thing with the cash flow after we refinance and the mortgage pay down, not even taking into account any appreciation that will happen, gives you a good investment of 12, return on investment of at least 12%. And again, very, very conservatively. Now I have an amazing no-nonsense contractor in St. John. He is amazing. And he kept, when he was evaluating this building for me, he kept saying how well it was built. They just don't build them like this anymore. And he kept going on and on about all the features and stuff. And he warned me that if I didn't buy it, that he was going to buy it. Now, if you're going to reach out and touch this building, it's in New Brunswick, which is one of the maritime provinces. It is a growing province, and that's a key word. It's a growing province. They're expected to have GDP growth this year of 5% despite COVID. And it's also a really strong point of immigration for new Canadians. And they like to come to New Brunswick because it has very affordable housing and lots of job opportunities. In fact, in 2019, the immigration was up 24%. And we know that post-COVID, the government is planning to really ramp up immigration. So this will be really good for New Brunswick. Now the property is in St. John. And St. John is the oldest incorporated city in Canada. So it's full of history and heritage. And I will give you a pro tip, because I was talking with some tonight about the city is St. John, not St. John's. The city with the extra S is actually found in Newfoundland, as I was quickly corrected when I was first starting to invest in St. John. Now, in terms of economic investment, there's a lot going on in St. John. Lots of money is pouring into the city. This is a big project that was just announced in February, the MDT site, and they're developing it along the water. It's going to be a mix of commercial, residential, and public spaces and retail. And so the government has announced millions of dollars of investment, all 3 levels of government. Along with the public sector, it'll be about a $300 million project. So lots of money pouring into St. John with this project, which means lots of high-paying construction jobs, tourism jobs, retail jobs, and people for those jobs, and the people need somewhere to live. Now this one's not as sexy, but very necessary, and Nadine touched on this one tonight too. So this is the city, the 3 levels of government are pledging $38 million to upgrade the infrastructure of the sewer and water systems in St. John. Because they know that the city is growing, and they need to have the infrastructure in place to deal with that growth. Now, it's not just the private or the governments that are investing in St. John. The private sector is also investing heavily in St. John. This is a project that's been going on for a couple of years. It's expected to finish in 2023, and it's the modernization of the port there. And so this helps and fits with the St. John goal of becoming a global transportation hub, which they're very well situated to do. Now, at Person Equity Partners, this is my full-time passion. This is not a part-time job. This is what I do all the time. And I have a huge team that helps support me with this. I've got some of my power team members up here, and my St. John specific power team members down there. They are invaluable because you might wonder, like, how do I do this when I live in BC and I'm investing, this property happens to be over there. And it's because of these wonderful people here. We've made the business decision to only work with the top people in their field and make sure that they are either real estate investors themselves or have a really good knowledge of real estate investing. And these people make it happen. Real estate investing is definitely not a solo sport, it's a team venture. So that's a little bit about the project. I've got lots more details if you'd like to have more information. I only had 10 minutes to talk tonight, so we couldn't talk for too long. That's a little bit about the project and a little bit about us. We do everything with purpose. I like to invest in properties that we can fix up and make really safe and beautiful for the tenants to live in, which in turn improves the communities and also builds wealth and time freedom for our investor partners and ourselves. We currently have opportunities in St. John, Fredericton, and Calgary. And I would love to chat with you about your investment goals and see if we are a fit to partner together and see if we can find an investment that works with your goals. This final picture is a picture of my family, my big Y. Now, I have been on the investor partner side, and I've also been on the managing partner side. So I have experience and knowledge from both perspectives, and I always want you to know that I will take care of your money as if it were my own. I want you to be comfortable with what we do at the beginning, middle, and the end of the project, what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it. So it's a really good opportunity also if you're, like Nadine was saying, if you're a new investor to follow along and learn the steps. That's how I learned when I was first doing that. So I'd love to talk to you about your goals and see if you would like to partner on this or whatever other opportunities. My contact details are up on the screen there, and I appreciate your time.
Awesome. Let's give a big round of applause. We'll put you on the hot seat here. Well, we'll give you a little feedback. So, in the spirit of sticking with our city, Keaton, why don't you offer your first feedback? And Jen, if you can put contact info in the chat for everybody to stay in touch, that would be fantastic.
So there was just a few things that I wasn't clear on. I want to clarify initially. Is the property already under contract?
Yes.
Is it subject free? So something I would add is if you're October 4th closing, if there's not a possibility of an extension, the partner who comes in needs to be ready to move at warp speed, just because we're almost in that 10 business day window already. Is it 4 units currently, or how many is it?
5 units.
Okay. So then you also have a very restricted choice of lenders for residential financing, which you showed. So I just maybe highlight that because it has to be a very specific investor to come back. The other thing is, has it been appraised already at all?
Yes, so the appraisal came through higher than actually the purchase price. And the appraiser, which they usually don't say things about buildings, but even this appraiser was, everybody that's touched this building has said what an amazing building is.
Awesome. So the economic life came in at 35 years or higher?
I was higher than that. I think it was, I want to say 40.
Perfect. So those are just concerns that I have that knowing the background I would look into.
Yeah.
But overall looked great. I would have loved to see a little more on the vacancy and the contingency funds, just because is it 1860 building?
I forgot a whole part of my presentation when you said that.
But
yes, the vacancy I put in is 5%, and even though the vacancy rate, well, in St. John it's only 3.2%, and in that neighborhood it's really, really low. And that's actually one of the things I talk about as being an accountant is I put all those, I account for everything in there. I'm very conservative with my numbers, so my numbers have banking fees, bookkeeping fees, history of the tenants at Christmas, pest control, repairs and maintenance, vacancy fees, property management, professional property management, great team there. Repairs and maintenance, and of course the insurance, property, taxes, and mortgage also. So all of that's in there.
That's great. It was a very interesting property and a very unique deal.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was in love with the aesthetic of the property. It was an Airbnb. I want to go on vacation just to stay there. So adorable. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I'd love to hear what the team in Edmonton has to say.
Hey, I think you're an amazing speaker. I think it was a great presentation. The numbers all worked. Like I looked and everything looked good. I really liked the part where you talked about the sewer upgrades. I thought that was very creative. It caught, I don't know, it just stood out and it made your point. You know what I mean? Everything else was like all information. Then you're like, oh, this one's not very sexy, and it made me think, oh, wow, well, yeah, they must be, growing in population. If they're upgrading the sewers, more people are, going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I always have to add something constructive at the end because I can't just say it was a great presentation. The one thing I was looking for was why you. What's the exclusivity that you bring? Is it something about you? Is it something that you can do that I can't? I mean, there's plenty of people investing in New Brunswick. So why you? I was just looking for that one little line or that one-liner just to kind of catch my attention. Maybe
that's good feedback. That was actually the part I forgot was my superpower was as an accountant and analyzing the deals and all the things that I put in there. So I forgot that part.
Awesome. Well, it looks like we're handing off to Ray, who also happens to be your coach. So I'm guessing Ray's gonna have lots of great feedback for you. Ray, how did that presentation go for you?
So personally, I liked it, obviously. However, I believe there was one point where you could have had a differentiator, is that you were willing to involve your JV partner in how much or the direction of the opportunity, because there were multiple ways the opportunity could go. And so I would have liked you to emphasize that a bit more, because that would have been a huge differentiator versus everybody else we've seen so far who shows basically one thing and take it or leave it. So I would have liked to see that.
Awesome. Awesome. Barry, what did you think?
My sound was terrible, so I missed half of it. It was just kind of splurging and up and down. So, but the one thing is, I like the business and accounting background. I want someone who knows numbers and who knows how to crunch numbers. I would have liked to hear a bit more about what approach you take. I want a conservative investment. That's just me. I mean, I want to hear that they can dangle with their own money and take risks and do whatever they want. But with my money, I want to know that your whole approach is a conservative approach. So I'm sorry I didn't hear it as well as I could, but those are my thoughts.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I personally found the presentation, it was very well rehearsed, which caused a very smooth and polished delivery. So it came across very professional, which I personally really appreciate. It looks like when the presentation is that smooth and there's obvious preparation, it kind of leads me to think, okay, if she's this prepared just to talk about the deal, there's probably a lot of preparation that goes into the deal. So those are the things we like to call the intangibles. And the intangibles are what give people that impression where they're like, I liked it and I don't know why. But I spent a lot of time studying the intangibles, so I articulate them. So that was one of the things I noticed in the presentation. Well, fabulous presentation. I love that. I love that little property, and I feel like I'm learning a lot about St. John, New Brunswick. Thank you for the presentation. Let's give her a big round of applause.